For Off the Block, I'm Vinny Lipson. We are now joined by UC Irvine men's volleyball head coach David Kniffin after his team got the season opening victory against Princeton, a sweep on the home court. And coach, kicking off the college men's volleyball season here, pretty nice way to start off with a sweep. How would you assess your team's play tonight?
You know, I think usually we talk about January volleyball being something that's a little bit messy, and we're not even in January yet. So I was pretty proud of our guys just keeping it very simple tonight. I don't think either team did anything that was outside of their skill sets. I think that we matched up pretty well against Princeton in the sense that we kind of knew what they had coming back, and we didn't try to outplay our own level for December.
Yeah. And, Coach, I want to ask you defensively, obviously Princeton has a lot of firepower with players like George Eumann. You guys held them to less than a 200 attack percentage. Can you talk about what you guys were able to do defensively, blocking and really contain the Princeton offense?
We're a pretty big team, just from a physicality standpoint. I think that helps us a little bit early in the season. That Princeton team will improve dramatically. Remember that they're just assembling here on the West Coast. They didn't travel as a team out here. They've got a couple of California kids that got into the gym for the first time 2 days ago. So really, I think we got away with some things that, if this is a match being played even in late January, this is a totally different matchup in terms of what George does or doesn't do.
And Coach, Scott Static had hit more than 500 for you in the victory night. Can you talk a little bit about his development, because he's always been such a great defensive player, but do you feel that he's taken to the next level offensively or he's going to be taking it to the next level offensively this season?
I think there's certainly the potential for that. I mean, Scott's been around the game for so long, and he's always just been the consummate team player, even though he stands out as statistically one of the best blockers in the country since his freshman year. He's really just kind of been able to fill whatever role we need for him. We've never really asked him to be great offensively, but I think if we ask that of him, I think he is prepared to do that this year.
Yeah. And, Coach, obviously talking about great offensive players, Joel Steinmiller continuing to put up big numbers, did once again. What have you seen from him in the court, during the off season and into tonight's match that, he seems to be able to just constantly improve?
Joel has always been a very mature volleyball player, and I guess by that I would just say very stoic on the court. He's very steady. When you watch him, you see him get excited, and obviously he can flex down after a big kill, and you can see him, pull his shirt over his mouth real quick when he doesn't get the kill he wants. And but for the most part, that guy is just so steady. And what I'm seeing from him this year is that steadiness is just now kind of getting linked to other areas of his game. It's not just offensive or serving anymore. He's starting to get some digs, and his blocking is getting a little bit better. His passing is getting a little bit better, and he's just becoming a more well-rounded volleyball player and someone we can really rally behind. And we'll need that this year. That's going to be important for us.
Well, Coach, talking about your team this year, obviously last year you had a lot of success. I know you would have liked for it to, end with the opportunity to play in the NCAA tournament. But how do you feel that this team is different from last year's team?
Unproven, I think, is the first word that comes to mind when I think about this team. The guys that we had last year with Dante setting the ball for us, and Carl Applebach, who I think was one of the best right side blockers in the country, and David Parker, who was just such a big cultural component for us in terms of how we operated as a team, and then Aaron Kubi, obviously just this really well-rounded, experienced, French national team pipeline type guy. And then we get to this year's team, and we obviously have some guys that are good volleyball players, but we just don't have that seasoned experience on the court anymore. So I think that's the biggest difference really between last year's team and this year's team.
Yeah. And, Coach, I want to ask, moving forward, obviously you have a tough schedule, and you are kind of known throughout college men's volleyball of always tinkering with your starting lineups. I have to ask, is there anything that you're seeing from this match that may result in you changing up the line from what we saw today?
I mean, that's certainly always a possibility, especially in January where we are scheduled to play, the predicted champion from each of the conferences that we're seeing in January. So, we're going to play Lewis and Loyola. Lewis was tabbed as the favorite for the MIVA, and then we're playing, obviously, Princeton, who was tabbed the favorite for the EIVA. And then we're going to see BYU, which I think was predicted number one coming out of the MPSF, along with Stanford, who I don't know if they were 2 or 3, but they're predicted to be strong in the MPSF as well. So I don't know what's coming with this team. I do believe in the way that we're going, and I like this work ethic and the camaraderie we've got. It'll be really fun to test whatever we have against these teams in January.
All right, Coach, a final question. We'll let you go on this. From your standpoint, did you like this early kind of, December kicking off the season for, getting the first match under your belt, or would you like a little more time to train?
I liked it, and I think a big part of the reason I liked it is because it's Princeton and it's Sam Schweisky, and it's we didn't have to wait. Sam and I would normally do some kind of a scrimmage or something early in the season, something that wouldn't be an official match where we could play 2 out of 3 or something a little bit less formal to kind of help each other prepare for what's coming. And this year, we were asked if we'd be willing to turn this into a match and play it in the Brent Center. And with only 2 days practice, it's always rolling the dice a little bit competitively, but it's even for both sides. And I think one of my guys said it really well. One of the hardest things about competing as a winter spring sport is the waiting and the anxiety coming back after Christmas. And it was really nice to just have 2 days and all of a sudden we get to play a match. So instead of, waiting for a week and training and wondering how good we are and what we need to work on, now we have a little bit more of a sense of that. So I'm certainly appreciative of that opportunity.